Okay, so we just went down like the analyst role with you. Take me into the insider role with you, because I think amid last week, which you could argue was the best slate of games of the season thus far, I think like news got lost. And I'm a recruiting nerd. Like, love signing day, have always loved signing day, have been in a signing day forever. Like, is there a signing day? What has happened with letters of intent, collectives, schools now approving how much money they're going to pay players? Like, can you give some clarity to that? I know you've been all over the story.
Yeah, so this was a few months in the works. So basically, the National Letter of Intent program is run by the Commissioners Association, which is kind of strange. Actually, it's like not under the NCAA. So they had been looking at like, is this feel outdated? Is this something that we should have? It's a pretty binding agreement, right? As we all know, it's hard to get out of, and it's been an issue when there's been coaching changes or things where there have been other rule changes to release people from their national letters of intent. And honestly, a lot of people, especially if you've been getting like legal advice or have like smart advisors around you, there were people who were signing different financial aid agreements in the first place and not this actual NLI document. So they were kind of moving away from it in the first place. And now it will be these other financial aid agreements. Plus, and we're still figuring out this new world, but the House settlement got preliminary approval. So people are still moving towards like a world where you have direct payments to players from their school revenue share next year. And then, there can certainly be NIL deals on top of that. But like, there's going to have to be different contractual agreements related to that. And every school is going to have to figure out how they're sharing the revenue, who gets what cut of it, what the amount is. But there's basically just going to be different documents is the way that I've been thinking about it for recruits to sign with their schools. And I don't know what that means for like the idea of a signing day or a ceremony. I think you could still do it. I think, signing your financial aid agreement, you could still do those things. But as we know, even now, if you're verbally commit, or you sign something, people still talk to you, right? There's still like, it's not like recruiting is completely over. And now with the portal, everyone just stays in touch because, hey, maybe you decide you want to change your mind in 2 years. So, I just think all of that has been in flux. And so it's not quite like this, like super binding, amazing announcement ceremony because you'll go there for 4 years. That part has already shifted. But after you talk to some of these quarterbacks, they're figuring out for next year, let me know what they decide. Cause I'm curious if they're still going to like celebrate, the signing moment.
Okay, two quick follow-ups to that, and I really appreciate your time today. It's been a blast. If I am a high school quarterback, let's just say I'm a 5-star QB, I'm an Elite 11 quarterback, and I'm going to go sign at X school. I'm not signing my national letter of intent anymore. We just discussed that is off the table. I'm going to sign a financial aid agreement and or NIL agreement, however you want to coin that, rev share, etc. Can I do that like November 1? Can I do that December 1? Can I sign 2 of them? Like, do you have any clarity around that so schools can say, hey, this guy's been committed to us, and now we expect him to sign on a specific date to at least lock in the financial agreement part of it?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So you still have the signing periods as they're scheduled. And they moved the early signing period up. So it's now before the transfer portal window opens. So it's right around like conference championship weekend now. And it's a 3-day period. So like, again, part of this was December was crazy for coaches. It was crazy from a roster management standpoint, preparing for games. And now there's more meaningful games in December. But also just felt like the high school players kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit with the portal just being so overwhelming. There were a lot of coaches that said, hey, we want to make sure that we sign our guys and then, figure out the portal after and like to supplement. So we'll see how that works because this is the first year of that. But then you still have the same dates in February. There's still, and then again, this is a commissioner decision. Again, maybe it'll move depending on everything that's changing governance wise. But it's possible that like you do end up adding a summer signing period, which is something that some coaches like and some coaches dislike. There's definitely been pushback from some high school coaching associations. But, I like that idea because I think it takes out the fall of your senior year. You don't have to worry about things. Obviously, you could lock in someone who then like kind of has a glow up and then maybe has different options. So that could be different. That could be detrimental to a player. Or, like if you're the SEC, you don't care. You could have the latest possible signing date because you're just going to wait and be like, oh, somebody became available and played really well. Like we could probably get in on that if we're Georgia. But so it depends who you talk to, of like what they actually want. But I like the idea of a summer thing because